Good morning, welcome to Morning Review. This is Kim speaking on Tuesday the 23rd of August. So looking at the euro dollar first, and as you can see yesterday we put in quite a nice bullish reversal candle here, nice hammery candle. After selling off quite strongly during the morning, we saw the flip round and I say quite strongly, it's all relative on this market, but it is moving back up positively at the moment, bouncing off its weekly pivot there. So where are we at the moment? And well, higher lows, higher highs. It's in the hourly perspective, it's looking relatively bullish. However, it's always something that may come in and drop something. We've got untouched daily pivot below, which is a reasonable probability of being hit. So if we do start seeing it sell off, it becomes a target area. This may be a bit too savage, but if it does sell off this morning and start moving back, maybe through the 21s, it becomes a bit more of a confirmation. It hasn't tested those 21 moving averages, so I'm a bit wary of them acting as a support level effectively. But if it can break those, well, it could well be on the route there. It's at the moment, obviously, in the bigger picture, not put a higher high in. It's below the last week's highs. So we'll see how we run, but if it can continue in the same route, well, of course, last week's highs, that daily R2 would be a great target. Cable, so zip out for a moment, and bigger picture, I'll talk about this later on in a different video update, but the bigger picture here, I'm still sort of expecting at some point to see price come back in. I've left the regression channel on, it hasn't changed, so I've just left it on the bigger picture, and we've been sort of fighting to try and get through and close above this lower trend line of the regression channel, but at some point I expect that to be broken, and almost inevitably it'll be broken unless we take a real dive for the pound, but it to come up and maybe fill that the gap that was left there from 2 months ago now. But how are we sitting in the meantime? Well, we're just up there testing the monthly pivot again. It's well, done it from a little bull flag. It's pushed up beyond that at the moment. It's looking like it's got some possibilities to push on some more. Shorter time frame, well, it looks a little bit more iffy at the moment, and it'll be interesting to see how this holds. And again, we've got the daily pivot below, so it sort of brings me back to the same sort of picture as the euro in terms of the potential. If we start seeing a sell-off, well, daily pivot would be the target, and once again, we'll have to just watch out for those 60-21s, depending on how it breaks and what it does this morning. If it starts selling off quite sharply, then we can get in a bit earlier maybe than the 21, so it gives us a bit of cushioning in terms of our position before it gets down to potential support. Break of that level, well, because as I say, see the daily pivots hit. So just looking, actually, I just need to get the possibly, I'm just looking. There's no overbought signals where we're sitting at the moment. They've all sorted themselves out. So yeah, it's just whether or not this morning it can break on and run up towards the R1, and last week's highs there pretty close together. There will be sell orders sitting above that sort of sell orders. There may be sell orders sitting above there. I'll have to have a look at that later, but actually potentially buy orders sitting above there actually. Right, okay, which could give it a kick up in that direction. Dollar yen. So dollar yen in the end, it came down, it's filled the gap yesterday eventually after having its rally. Sitting where it is now, well, still strengthening at the moment, and so we're really seeing a reflection of the weaker US dollar across the markets at the moment. Looking down again, we've got a daily pivot untouched, this time above, which would make sense as it's the US dollar yen. So any sort of movement to the upside, there's a potential for that to be hit. The 21 moving averages have both been tested, so any sort of decent setup could give an opportunity to that upside. Aussie dollar. Managed to reverse off the 34 yesterday. Again, well, it's still to me in a downward picture of lower highs, lower lows. So I've struggled against it in a sense, but it has got its weekly pivot yet to be touched, which is certainly a potential. It's between a rock and a hard place here, though. Daily pivot below, weekly pivot above. It really depends on what it does. It could run up, hit the weekly pivot, and then roll over, or vice versa. So it's just really watching this morning. It's a bit consolidated where it's sitting here, and it's consolidated range. If we can see something come from that, excuse me, well, that may give us the direction, but it's not one I trade in the mornings that much anyway. Canadian dollar, well, you know what I'm going to say here. Let's have a look at oil, which is eased off a bit again. Apparently, Goldman Sachs's estimate of next summer's prices of oil has seen some of this move down here in terms of they're still seeing it somewhere between the $45–50 a barrel in Brent crude. So looking at where we're sitting at the moment onto its daily 8, may find a bit of support if we can get some support or a bit more support off that. Well, maybe it'll push up again, but at the moment it's looking relatively weak. So how's that fit CAD? Should look relatively strong, and it's a little bounce is not yet. Sorry, it should look relatively strong. The dolly CAD should look relatively strong. We're just seeing this sort of movement back down here, but if it can get well, it's already bouncing off its 240.21, 50 hourly 50, etc. Maybe a break of the trend line that's sitting here would be a safer option here, before just chasing in and trying to catch the bottom here, but certainly there is some potential for some upside there. Okay, that's pretty much it. News-wise today, there's not a lot out today. We've got 8 o'clock, we've got the flash PMI figures out for manufacturing services for France, and then German figures coming out at 8:30. These can move the markets a little bit, nowhere near to where they were or was once moving the market. The 9 o'clock figure doesn't really give any data or much movement at all. It's really the 8 o'clock. 8:30 is the biggest move because Germany being the biggest influence within the European sector there. Okay, US new home sales in the afternoon doesn't really give too much of a kick at the moment. So all in all, we're left to our own devices again in terms of news here. So looking purely at the technicals. That's it for me. Have a great day. Bye for now.